We're glad that you're with us, the Matt Patrick Show. It was display of lawlessness, frankly, that I've never seen in my lifetime. And I'm actually just a little bit older than our next guest. What are you laughing at? I am a little bit older than you.
Yeah, well, not much.
Texas Congressman Mike McCaul is joining us here this afternoon. And, Congressman, we appreciate it. Chairman of the House Committee on Homeland Security. Well, that was an interesting speech last night. Did you have a little popcorn? Did you enjoy that?
Oh, yeah. That was, I got to tell you, this is, I mean, I like you said, I've never seen anything like this. And you know, what was interesting, Matt, he says that, well, members of Congress said, I don't have this authority. Well, the president over 20 times during his presidency said he didn't have the authority to do this and that that's not how democracy works. So, I mean, what is it? I mean, now he does have the authority, he says, and I think it's a real threat to our democracy, and he is completely bypassing the Congress and the will of the American people. And with his pen, I guess he thinks the executive branch can start writing laws now instead of the Congress. He's a constitutional scholar, right?
Yeah, well, he proved that last night. Let me play something for you, and then I'll let you respond to it. This is something that he said about Republicans last night.
For a year and a half now, Republican leaders in the House have refused to allow that simple vote. Now, I continue to believe that the best way to solve this problem is by working together to pass that kind of common sense law. But until that happens, there are actions I have the legal authority to take as president, the same kinds of actions taken by Democratic and Republican presidents before me, that will help make our immigration system more fair and more just. Tonight, I'm announcing those actions.
All right. So it's your fault, Congressman McCaul.
Yeah, we forced him to do this because we wouldn't play ball with him. You know, I've been trying to get the Department of Homeland Security to secure that border ever since I became chairman, frankly, for the past decade. And I think now with the friendlier Senate that we're going to be able to get that border security bill passed. Here's the problem, man. As you start tinkering around with immigration reform and amnesty, and you send a message that same thing we saw last summer with these 60,000 children trying to cross because of DACA and the executive action he took then. We saw this in 1986 when they granted amnesty. Every time we do this, we get a wave of illegals, and you know what? It's going to happen again. And you got to get the security piece. You know, you and I talked about the blueprint I have, and I'm going to have a bill coming out, one of the first things out of the new Congress to get passed to get the security piece done. You can't start talking about fixing immigration laws until you get that piece done, and that's what I plan to do.
Texas Congressman Mike McCaul joining us, and we appreciate your time. I know you're a busy guy, and by the way, and I'm sure that your folks mentioned this to you, but we are now heard in Dallas-Fort Worth on Talk Radio 1190. So I mean, we've expanded, at least on this show. I mean, I know you're on TV all the time on Fox, but I tell you what, on this show now, you're getting.
I grew up in Dallas, so that's great news.
The Republicans got to get together and come up with something other than just rhetoric. And I think this is what the American people are afraid of. And you and I have talked about this many times on and off the air. The American people hear Republicans say, that he's a bad guy. Look, we're going to do this. We tried to do this. We couldn't get it done. But we haven't seen, and in particular leadership, Congressman, haven't seen leadership actually lead. As a matter of fact, and this is coming from me, not you, I think leadership has looked a little spineless. I hope that changes. Do you expect leadership now to actually lead in the House?
Well, I think first and foremost, we have to shut down this president in this action. And Bob Goodlatte, chairman of Judiciary, I'm chairman of Homeland. We're the two primary chairmen in this fight. And we sent a letter to the president before he announced it saying, please don't do this, work with Congress. But if you do this, we're going to, by any means necessary, stop you. And all the tools afforded under the Constitution stop him. We're looking at various options right now as to how we can stop it, including the power of the purse, which I think is probably the most probably going to be the most likely course that we're going to take. But I think Republicans, we have House and Senate moving into January. We have a responsibility to lead, to govern, and I think you're going to see our agenda being passed in the Congress, and the president's going to have to deal with it when it gets to his desk. Whether it's Keystone Pipeline or whether it's my border security bill, he's going to have no one is protecting him anymore because Harry Reid's going to be gone.
Do you think he's leading you into this? Do you think? And last night was political. You know it. I know it. I think most of the Americans. That was it was a political stunt. He didn't give a damn about immigration. So do you believe that he is luring the Republicans into trying to do something like shutting down the government, trying to do something that will come back and bite him, so that that he can somehow raise the stature of the Democrats going into next year after the butt whooping he took on the 4th?
Yeah, he's betting that we're going to implode and that we're going to be our own worst enemy. And, look at the timing of this, too, right? Thanksgiving going into Christmas. He wants us to be, the Grinch who stole Christmas. He wants us to be the people that are shutting the government down, which I always say, we're going to keep the government open, but we're going to shut down this president. And I think that's the right tone here, is that we got to stop this action first and foremost, because you're right. My constituents are like, okay, I hear you're speaking out against us, but what are you going to do to stop it? So that's why we're looking at specific provisions and things we can do to stop this. And, of course, when we have a friendlier Senate starting in the new year, we're going to have a lot more tools and capability to do that as well. So, and then they harken back to Reagan and Bush. The difference, Matt, between what Reagan and Bush 41 did and what this guy has done is that Reagan and Bush were actually working with the Congress. They were actually responding to legislation that the Congress was passing. Very different scenario here. I mean, he has not worked with the Congress at all, and so unilaterally he is bypassing us, circumventing the will of the people right after these elections too. You mentioned it's political. Absolutely. That's why he waited till after the elections, because he knew if he did this before the elections, it would hurt them. And of course, it didn't. We fortunately prevailed in most of the elections, but he has calculated this, and we're not going to take the bait. And I think he wants us to have self-inflicted wounds, and we're just not going to do that.
And I hope not, because it's happened before. I mean, we've seen this before. We've seen Republicans get real squishy because they're afraid that the American people aren't going to like them, and they're worried about how they're going to be perceived. And I think the president believes that is still the case. And so it will be important that I've already heard Republicans arguing with other Republicans today. One says we're going to, it's the power of the purse. The other one says no, we can't do that. We're going to. So, I mean, I was talking about this on a different show this afternoon in Dallas-Fort Worth. I said, look, it's up to you guys now. You got to make the next move, and it's got to be the right one, and it has to be something that's significant to the American people.
Well, and I tell my colleagues, the American people have given us a second chance, and we have to lead and govern and get our agenda passed. And we need to stick together. This infighting has to end. But, I personally think there are options through the power of the purse to stop this. And so I'm going to be advocating very strongly for that. And others talk about the power of appointments. Maybe we can block some appointments. There are a lot of tools in the toolbox we're looking at. But, the American people have entrusted us with the Congress now again. And we have to, we have to lead and we have to govern. And the more bills we pass, and we will, and put on his desk, we put him in a very difficult position as to whether he's going to pass or veto. He can't. Harry Reid's not going to protect him anymore from this. And so, frankly, I think all conservatives should be excited about this. Not excited about what happened last night,
right?
And we are going to stop that, but excited about the new conservative agenda coming out of Congress.
Congressman, I want to thank you for your time. We appreciate it, and I always appreciate when I get a call from your guys and they say, hey, you want to chat a little bit? I do, and I appreciate it.
It's always an honor to be on your show. And, I think we're going to have some good news in the next year.
Happy Thanksgiving to you and the family.
Likewise, Matt. Thank you so much for saying that.
Yeah, we mean that. Go out there and get it done, and let's keep in touch. Thank you, Congressman.
Well, we do have a lot to be thankful for, and it's time. A lot of problems in this country, but there are a lot of good things. And,
amen.
Shoot, I got 5 kids. I got to, I'm going to get to spend Thanksgiving with, and I'm looking forward to that too.
Enjoy it. Thank you, Congressman. We appreciate your time. Texas Congressman Mike McCaul joining us this afternoon. Back with your phone.